What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Stag Voiceover. My name is Neil Glasgow. So in today's video, what I want to talk about is artificial intelligence and how it's going to impact or is impacting our industry. So with that in mind, let's get into it. Or assimilated. Pick one. So if you don't know, artificial intelligence voices are becoming really prevalent in the market. Now, what we're not talking about at the minute is something to the level of Skynet or anything you've seen in a movie. What we're looking at here is lots and lots and lots of different platforms and technologies that are out there that are the new revolutionary thing that comes to the market that's blah, 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 voiceover is dead and AI should take over. So, I wanted to actually do a little bit of research on this and come out with what I think is the real state of play and where things could be going. And what I did to research this is I reached out to several of my clients who some of them are using voiceover AI. I reached out to various communities to get their view on it. And I've done a whole bunch of research around what these platforms actually do and look like and how to code them. So I think the first thing to make you aware of is really what is the problem that AI voices are trying to fix. And largely it comes down to the same thing that every solution tries to solve for any problem. It will save time, effort, money, basically. That's what they're looking to do. And in some regards, it can do that. Big underline there. Can do that, okay? I have seen and heard artificial voices that sound practically indistinguishable. Virtually as indistinguishable from you or I. Virtually indistinguishable. You can hear that stuff. And one of the things that AI voices are not very good at, yay for me, is accents. They're not quite there yet. Sort of the generic American English things that you might hear on any number of things, they're a little bit better than that because the sampling levels are there. Well, side note. But one of the things that they're trying to address with especially the time and effort elements are if you're a small studio or a marketing agency or something like that, hiring a studio, right? Just going and hiring a studio costs thousands, okay? That's just hiring the space. Then you're talking about audio engineers. That's a cost. Maybe you've got a director, a voice director. That's a cost. Then you've got you and I, the voice actor. That's a cost. They've got quite a large outlay hoping to get the thing right across the line. And that's one of the things that AI voices can address. You essentially buy a platform, buy a software at X price, but you only pay it once, or subscription, whatever. And then you can put in your text, type it in, and out comes this lovely voice. But it doesn't quite work like that. And this is the reality that a lot of the businesses are facing now that are trying this. When you use one of these platforms, you need someone who is an expert in that platform. Now, if you've ever used something like the video editing software or any software, if you're in the tech world, cybersecurity, pick a thing. Unless you're an expert in that technology and you're not the person to deploy it, you're not the person to use it. And because there are so many of these platforms out there, it's finding that skill set or developing that skill set. And therein lies the big problem with the artificial voice. All the clients that I've spoken with who use it have basically said it takes so much time to get it to sound just about right that they may as well just come to a voiceover, a voice actor, someone like you and I. And that's what the industry's facing at the moment. AI can be fantastic reality, okay? Is it at a point now where it is easy to use and simple? No. We are years away from that. Maybe a couple of years, but we're years away from that. So, what does that mean for you and I? Well, the reality is that days of us going into the studio to do some of this stuff may be coming to an end. And that's not a great thing for voice studios, really. But it's sort of like being a coal mine in the age of electric vehicles. When you can have this, when you can have a home setup, a really good mic, a good sound, you can be your own audio engineer, and people can dial in remotely from their own houses, their own kitchens, and direct you. You've got a massive, the biggest cost element that's saved. And even though the AI voices aren't quite there, and it is driving more work back to us, we need to be prepared to take that work and actually be adaptable. And this is the problem that I think that we're going to be facing in the next few years, okay? And this is, warts and all, whether you get into the industry or not. In the next few years, if you're not at a point where A, you have clients, or can be generating clients, and you can give them something that they can't access already, you're going to struggle. And the thing that you can immediately, the low-hanging fruit, all that business talk, is get your booth set up properly. And if you can do that, and you can get your DAW, and you can get your mic and do all the stuff, and you're offering them everything that an AI voice can do, you can offer them something that an AI voice can't do. And that always comes down to time, okay? If a director says to me, I want that brighter, darker, more cockney, whatever, I can just do that. An AI voice can't. That is a whole thing of coding and tweaking and blah, 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 to get it to sound just the way that person envisions in their head. And that might not be what they want as the finished result. We can go through 5, 6, 10, 20 different styles of read in a very short amount of time. If someone wants to hear that from an AI voice, it's not there yet as a technology. So, should AI voices concern you getting into the industry? Yes, because it's a new player in the game. But should it put you off getting into the industry? Absolutely not. And I wanted to make this video because I've had a couple of people contact me to say they're concerned about it, but one person in particular wrote a message to me and essentially said, look, voiceover's dead, AI voices are at a level now where we're no longer needed, and they're kind of actively turning people off to that. And I wasn't quite sure that was where we were at, and I did my research, I reached out to a few people, as I say, and what I've got back is it's a useful tool when it's used right. There's so many different variations out of there, it makes using it kind of prohibitive. It takes so long, it's kind of prohibitive. And as I say, because it's quite prohibitive and people kind of need to go through that pain element, it's driving business back to us. You just have to be ready to pick it up. I've got very busy over the last couple of months from people who kind of just wanted to throw their AI voice out the window. But the other thing that I wanted to say to you, particularly around AI voices, comes in the form of voice cloning. Now, AI voices only get better when you or I volunteer, sell our voices to various platforms. And there's a lot of businesses out there that do that very, very cheaply. Some of them trick you into doing that as well, so please be vigilant. But ultimately, if you're worried about this as an industry, it can't create what it doesn't understand. As I said at the beginning of the video, artificial voices aren't particularly good at accents, regional accents, to be specific. And it's only going to get better the more it learns. That's the way artificial intelligence works. But if I give you a really good example, two really good examples, Siri and Alexa, those are real people. Those voices are from real people. What the artificial intelligence element that went into that is they recorded dozens and hundreds and thousands of words, and the artificial intelligence essentially expanded that vocabulary using what it heard and what it understood. It couldn't do that without you or I. Now, is that to say that you shouldn't go out and land the next Siri or Alexa gig? Absolutely not. Fill your boots. You will make a damn fortune on it. But it is to say that the lower end of that spectrum, do you want to get involved in that, particularly when it comes to voice cloning? I'll leave that up to you. Personally, not for me. But I'm very happy to adapt with the industry. And if AI voices is something that I need to adapt to, adjust to, or work with, then I'm prepared to do that, because I really just don't see yet, in the next decade, that it would surpass or supplant you and I as voice actors. If you've liked this video, give it a like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you didn't like the video, Skynet will come and get you. And remember, you can absolutely be a voiceover artist. Assimilate, do as the Borg do. Whatever. See you in the next video. That was weird.